And we have 7 o'clock. Did everybody have a chance to look over the previous minutes? I think, John, I saw you had some corrections. Did I see that? Yeah.
Yes.
I would make a motion to accept the minutes as amended per John's notes to Tammy.
I'll second that.
Can you second it with your mic on?
I can. I will second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next up, finances. Everybody has a copy. Any new information on the credit card system machine?
So we received an email. He wants us to fill out a form with information and funds before we move forward. He did, again, I could reconfirm, no charges come to the town. He'll send it to us. He did ask about what we expected in fees coming in, and I said, I'm not exactly sure. I said, it could be, somebody paying for their taxes on there. It could be someone looking for a permit. I said, it's just going to vary and that we need to figure out how we're going to link it in. So for instance, Vera, if it's tax fund, it goes into the general fund. If it's a permit or a warrant, does that go, or wherever the taxes go? I'm just saying.
Would go into the general fund.
The general fund. So we would mainly use the general fund. Is there any scenario we wouldn't be using the main general fund?
Something other than
Yes, other than the monies.
ATV permits, do they sometimes want credit card access for ATVs? General fund. The road account is gonna be road access permits, ATVs permits, and the general fund is gonna be some of the things on your list of receipts, which could be like the licenses or zoning, clerk fees.
Would they go into the same second fund, or would there be several funds we'd be dealing with?
Could either be road or general,
They're
right?
gonna be, well, account wise, probably just the two accounts,
Okay,
but yes, there's different categories for
Right.
what you pay.
Once it gets in the general fund, it would then be broken down into your individuals.
Yeah, we
Right.
need to know where it's supposed to go.
right. So I mean, that was kind of the point that he was making. We need to kind of draw the map and tell him how many we need by way of
Categories.
how many categories so that it can be broken out a little bit. If it's all going in the general fund, it's all going in the general fund. We just need to notate it. But if it's going into separate funds, we can make separate funds. And whoever accepts that credit card would just have to notate what fund it was going in. So it would go to the appropriate place or the website.
Yeah, the
Scan
road
this
is
for.
So it'd just be a different drop down.
Right, exactly. Or a different scan.
So the only time I see that being an issue is if somebody just goes on there and just selects something and
Yeah, drops it in the wrong fund.
drops it in the wrong one and. Right,
Correct.
yeah.
He's waiting for that kind of information. Then once he gets that, he can set everything up, send it out to us, and then we can make the QR codes. We can make the URLs and such. It's in an email to both of us.
selling account.
Yeah. You'll see it's a form he sent in.
Perfect. Okay.
No, we
And-
received road money again. We received road money in the middle of July, which is when we usually receive it, but we received our October one already. I guess because of the floods everywhere, they're sending it out early. So the end of July, we received the payment. It probably hasn't shown up in the road yet because I didn't realize it was there in the month, or the beginning of the next month.
Okay.
August. So
What was the amount?
23,000.
Not what it normally is. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
the normal amount.
Yeah.
And it did specify class 2, class 3.
Is that paid
Yes.
quarterly?
Yes,
That's part of the, was it 90 that we usually get somewhere in there?
yeah, it must be, it's 20,
think-
this year is 23,000, which
Okay, nice.
approximately, so far it's been, I'm assuming it will be the next.
Okay.
Of course, the next one will be in January anyway,
I haven't
because
looked.
we already got. it.
Sorry. I haven't exactly looked through here yet. Sorry, I was doing the other part. Did we pay the plow person? We did pay plow person. Just making sure that happened.
Oh, it even got taken off the agenda.
It's off of the list. Who's Capel? Is that the name?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Is there anything that you wanted to point out to us? Anything you're concerned with or we should look at to be concerned with? Okay. Any other questions from the board side?
I don't see anything that grabs my attention so far.
And this is, well, it's kind of, did we receive the first bill from Fidium? Or I guess it's consolidated still, right?
I think it comes through as consolidated, yeah.
It was that, yeah, I was wondering why that went up and that's why I wanted to make sure.
It was a past due,
Right,
which Kathy said was not past due, you can say that she's off here. But so she can put that on, and the video was, I think, $97.
okay, good. I just wanted to make sure they stuck to what was agreed upon and no secret,
But
you know.
It did come under consolidated internet.
What is this in mine?
Well, I think that's consolidated. It's a new package they're offering out under a different brand, but yeah, I heard.
I mean,
Thank you.
looks like we guessed well on the fuel.
Like your hat, it's going up.
Yeah,
Which one are you looking at?
It's in mine.
it's gonna be close. It's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be close.
That should be in. I'm not sure. That's
So
a
we
good
went
question.
on a negative in the ditch straw mud stuff.
That's still inside.
Is that in a different area? Is that why?
Sorry, you brought that up
There-
last night.
Assistant town clerk, all these are saying negative. Are they in a different location? Is that why?
You mean up at the top?
Yeah,
Because I don't have a budgeted amount for any of them. So it's in the negative because we've spent that amount, so they're all in the negative because I don't have an amount for.
That makes sense.
For per position.
Who got their CDL?
That was, yeah, that was Mark, what, 3 months ago, 4 months ago?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, Yeah, yeah,
I've never seen one. whose position is less than the total.
Because it's not budget.
okay.
So actually, if you look at the bottom, you're gonna see the total paving amount left. For the whole. Payroll.
And the,
Because we don't
is that sign expense, the
Yep.
the signs that are at the golf course that they're reimbursing us for? Or is that other signs? So sign expense, yeah.
Do we have any other signs we bought that?
I know.
I really don't know.
what's the total on it, John?
Well, it's,
That was the sign, yeah.
actually just waiting for reimbursement. Okay. Awesome.
Yep, I'm good. Any other questions?
They look nice, by the way.
They do. Yeah, Matt, you got a compliment on the signs. They look good up through there.
Yeah, they do.
Everybody was happy, and thank you to the golf course. So we were at the loop gates this weekend and having the posts out there in the middle was kept traffic slow and, yep.
I also like the little stop signs. They're nice.
Yeah,
I actually do.
yep. It's a nice place. Take up golf, you'll see the real beauty. Chasing your ball, swearing, it's good times. All right, if nobody has it,
Deck on the 19th. Thank you.
if nobody has anything else, I guess we're good. Thank you.
Thanks.
You can leave it on, I guess.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Sarah. Take care.
Mark, was Paul on his way?
On the job.
He's on a job. Okay. That hop. Yep. Nope, that's fine. You're first on the list, so. Hop up in the hot seat.
Copies of this, pretty much.
Share with you.
Right.
Okay. So I think what we're gonna do is we're also gonna ask Mac to come up too, because Mac's probably a little more privy to what's going on up there than we are. I haven't been up there since the day I went up with you and your brother, what was that, 2 years ago, I think.
Summer of 2020.
3 years ago. Wow.
It's by-
Yeah.
Yeah, I give a little history of the new players on the board, so. Back in February of 2020, we met with the select board and posed this issue that we were having accessing our property, Kings Hill. And we brainstormed some ideas and we left the meeting with the understanding that something would happen. At some point, there was FEMA issues going on at the time with roads and washout, which is fine, I get that. But, now it's 3 years later and we still got the same issue. We've had some issues with the current crossing. It works well if the water stays low, but you never know. So we're again here, or I'm here on behalf of my brother and my nephew, Richard Ross, requesting that we do something with that culvert, bridge, whatever combination that works best for that spot. That's it. We don't need any road upgrades. We get it. Class 4 roads are not the responsibility of the town. But I included in this packet on page 3. It is the interpretation of the Vermont City Leagues in Town, Leagues of Cities in Town. That class 4 bridges and culverts are the responsibility of the town. And that's where we are.
Now, the only thing about it is that the culverts are wide open. And the water's not going through it because of depth and no blockage between the culvert.
Yeah, what's going on there over Mother Nature kind of took over.
Right, and then of course you got the beaver pond down below, which
That's coming up again.
it doesn't seem to be bothering the road itself, but if there was some way to block off that island to make the water go through our culvert.
Yeah.
That's the
When,
biggest problem.
when we had equipment available to us, a couple times we got permission with Fish and Wildlife to go in there and eradicate as many beavers as we could and move the dam. We did that several years. But you get rid of one and 6 come to the funeral.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm assuming, like I said, we went up there in 2020, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming nothing's changed. The water, the culvert is solid. The land on top of it is solid. You dip down in, that's where your brook is now.
Yeah.
Because-
The ATV use up there has sloped it both ways. And this time of year, no trouble, getting through there. But I know last fall, I know of one exhaust system that stayed in the brook and. I'm not sure what our legal ramifications are for brook crossings, there too. And with the best management practices, I know a lot of people wouldn't get away with it. So.
Yep. And at that time, I think we offered up, if it was salvageable, a culvert, and as we discussed that day, that's obviously not something we can head up there with a dump truck and set for you.
We don't have access to equipment like we had before.
Okay. So I'm not sure.
Have the beaver? Do they keep plugging the culvert?
Well, the brook itself, kind of detoured away from the culvert.
Yep.
It loops around now.
Yep.
And ATV traffic, as I said, sloped it down to the brook and sloped it up the other way.
Yep.
It's okay. But I know last fall, when we had several times when the water came up, it was right up to the running boards. But below, that would be on the west side of the road now. Beavers have started building that dam back up.
Again.
Yeah, well, it was the one up on, I don't know if they,
I don't think,
yeah,
but that's saying,
that's same, yeah.
I mean, it's a long ways off the road or for our right away, you'd have to get. Whoever's in charge of sand, but
Yeah, Barbara, his daughter. Yeah. I don't know if you had a chance to meet her. Nice girl. She's up for whatever we need to do to make this happen. Yeah, she's the owner of that property now and, she lives out of state. But she does visit and she's in support of some kind of plan to have good access across the board.
The bottom line from the VLCT was that the town is not responsible for class 4. Is that what that I read?
Yes.
Is that how you interpret that?
Yeah, class 1, 2, and 3 highways must be kept in good sufficient repair during all seasons of the year. On the other hand, the town is not required to.
You just skip to the bottom.
Yeah.
There's a note.
Both read it. Yes, we both read it. I'm asking if
Yeah, for trails,
anybody else agrees. with it.
trails, and no responsibility by the town.
So this culvert and this bridge,
No, there's no bridge,
just the culvert.
it's just a culvert.
It used to be,
We'll put 2 culverts in place of the bridge.
Okay, and that's the actual roadway, not access to your property?
no, that's the town road. It's
Town highway, what, 39? I think it's 35.
So is it a class 4 or a town trip?
It's a class 4.
Okay,
We only have one town trail at this time.
don't give me.
Actually, no, you got one over on Allen's over on Kings Hill.
yeah. that's-
Okay, yep, it comes up from, yep. yep. So the problem here is, there's actually nothing wrong with the culvert.
Yeah.
The problem is through natural occurrences, the water flow has changed.
Because the culvert plugged initially.
Mhm.
And diverted itself.
Right.
Right.
And I mean, you came in right after the storm there. I mean, we can all pretty much we can all pretty much guarantee that was the cause of that Halloween storm. However, the damage to that wasn't enough to even put it on the FEMA record. And again, right, and it didn't damage the culvert is the problem. So
Oh, have you looked at those culverts?
Oh, this is- yeah.
Yes, we're
responsible for it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the culvert is what I'm saying. So I mean, we could go up there and you would go up and you would see a perfectly covered culvert and that's not the problem. It's the,
Hypothetically. If someone were to acquire some 3-4 foot minus. And armor, I just said somebody. And armor the upstream side of the road
Walk it so it's just culvert.
with the large boulders. And then progressively smaller rock and then
Fill it with fines.
fill it with the fines and then finish up by putting some boulders on the downstream side as well. Could that possibly work?
You could divert the water through the culvert, and
You're gonna have, in essence, creating a dam
right.
and diverting the water back to its original.
Some big rocks like.
Yeah, when we
stuff they could get their hands on
Harvard
there.
gave permission to pull some stones off
We
the property, and we tried to put some headers on it. And it wasn't enough to divert the water or keep it.
You'd have to start with the big ones and then
Yeah.
those finer stuff to make actually dam. Or teach the beaver to dam that up instead of. the culvert.
Well, as you said, the beaver are no longer upstream. If something were to happen, then it may be a good opportunity to look at a beaver deceiver, stick that in there.
Because.
That's what I'm, yeah.
We had, at this meeting Josh was talking about, the summer of 2020. We had the Department of Fish and Wildlife come on with their beaver specialist, and at the time, of course, there was just a trickle of water.
Yeah.
And there was no evidence of much going on, but we had removed quite a few beaver from the upside.
And that was the problem is he couldn't, oops, sorry.
Yeah.
That was the problem is he couldn't give us a yeah, do this, or yeah, do this, because one, there was a trickle, and two, there was no beavers present. So,
How big of a rock? Talking, how big of rocks are you talking?
big,
It's big stuff.
Because literally they're pulling them off of the sides of my retaining wall to rebuild my retaining wall, and we're rolling them down my little embankment. Today, it just started. The rocks, which are bigger than the table.
damn, that's a beaver and a half.
Would it be a simpler solution just to relocate the culverts?
Yeah, I was just thinking.
No, because you're still, what,
Again.
It's a natural movement of the stream. That's where the stream is now.
Right.
You still have to block off where the culverts are now.
Back to
Well,
the-
you take them out and you fill that in. There's no water there anyway.
Problem with getting filled there.
yeah, it's not a, I mean, you wouldn't put a tandem dump truck up there. I mean, a one ton, yeah,
I'm just spitballing here. I'm just
yeah,
throwing things out.
Thank you. Yeah, that road is hard, you know, that's gonna be all.
well, I mean, if we go up there to repair a class 4 road with, you know, some stone out of the pit, and we end up ripping an exhaust off a freaking truck. Then, you know, 8-10 grand for a freaking,
And then we're setting a precedence. You fix that class 4 road, fix mine.
You're gonna understand some precedences, but, you know, the Broad Lake cities and towns' opinion is that bridges and culverts and class 4 roads need to be maintained by the town.
It's like we better study this and get back to them.
you don't have to study it, it's right there. That's,
The fix,
oh, the fix, yeah.
fix.
I think we gotta come up.
I think we have the material. I don't think we're buying material. I think we have material in the pit that could make that work. It's the transportation.
But it's not setting precedents, it's a requirement of law. So that's pure and simple, Matt, it's the law. We don't have any way around it. That I can see.
You know, we're not trying to make it miserable like you guys. You know, if it's safe the way it is, the water levels, you know. We could deal with it. but
Yeah, it doesn't-
It's too unpredictable and certain times of the year.
Been 3 years without coming back in and harping on us. So I mean, yeah, you've been pretty patient. We can agree with that, yeah.
That was the easiest solution would be to hire somebody, hire somebody to go fix that.
Good.
Bring an excavator, do what you gotta do to block that.
Right.
We provide the materials.
Yeah, we provide them.
Don't truck it up there, that's, they need material, they might be able to take enough off on the lower side.
There's a lot of there.
And there again, it's going to depend on what you do to fix the solution. Do you relocate the culverts or do you create,
I think-
in essence, a dam there that forces it back to where it originally went?
And in that stance, I think we're talking hypothetical, we're talking multiple solutions that need to be looked at for the best availability.
Yeah.
Therefore, I agree with Terry. There will be a solution, but we could sit here for the next 4 hours coming up with 100 of them. And minutes, the solution. Mac, Lance, maybe we can put some heads together, and come up with a good solution that will, fix the problem at this point.
Bottom line is, if we put in a larger culvert, we have to involve A&R or an engineer who is licensed to do a water study.
Now, that one that's there is already been studied, right? So if you were to either. No, if you were to move that one from the previous stream bed to the new stream bed, probably wouldn't be an issue. Okay. That's another solution. There's a couple of solutions. Yep. So that's
For my edification, because I don't remember, what size are those culverts there?
36s, probably maybe 40s.
Okay,
I remember one of them was big enough I could get down in and
That's what it said in the
I
document.
mean, I've looked at it, I just don't.
That's what it said in the document you provided.
Okay,
yeah, I'm not a small guy and I know.
Can we say we're gonna do a study and we'll have this solution by fall, seeing how that's when they use it the most.
He's gonna run it before then, because he wants to go deer hunting.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, get it completed, so come fall.
When
they
when
use
you
it the most.
start going up there?
The hole's up there once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Holes along.
Okay,
But we've got some work to do, windows change.
Yeah.
So we'll be in and out of there all summer and fall.
Tammy, under the roads. The next thing, so that we don't fall into a precedence, is looking into throwing up class 4 roads to trails in the town of Bakersfield.
There's one thing that I was gonna mention to you guys, do you have a class 4 road policy in your town?
No, last time this came up, what happened is we walked it and it became a trail.
Uh,
Mike. How you doing? I'm gonna hand the phone to Larry. But you're on hold. We're in the middle of the meeting.
No, it's, he's.
He's the next, it's Mike Bergen.
You can't come in.
No, he's in Georgia.
In this document.
Yep,
Well, I need this. But it explains how the town can go ahead and
yeah,
develop and design a.
which we looked into this, we looked into this when we looked at Skinner Hill Road and, yeah, we are aware.
Let me make a copy of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's on, or just give Tammy the title so she can look it up. And print us off a couple copies. Tammy, you,
Model class 4. Highway policy and guidance. Vermont League of Cities and Towns. Highway policy and guidance.
And it's a publication you guys want.
it's a VTVLC.
In 2020, I left a copy of that. Reading at night and. Perhaps.
Say, I know I've seen it, I just,
Okay, you guys are busy and it's just here we are in August and. We got time.
yep, all right. So we have a plan in place. Meets what you're looking for, and I don't want to give you a timeline because I know they've got other stuff going on too, but I would definitely say we can have something in place so that that road is to a class 4 standard by fall. Or before it washes out again.
Up there. Not a crazy time.
Yeah.
For your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
You know, we're not looking for anything special, we're just want to be able to access that year round or. Other than the winter, of course.
Yep.
Well, we need the water to go up, I heard rumors that. That they were gonna be cutting up in there, if that's the case, that'd be good. That would be good. Some sand.
Do you know who's cutting? Or is it,
No, it's just rumor.
is it the paper company?
No, I think it's Manchester.
Let
That's all.
me touch base with a couple of, well, the one that cut up there before. I know rather well, and if he got that again,
A lot of trips in there, I had to put a.
Yeah.
Infrastructure in,
yeah, they have to bring it up to a class 3 standard
Yep.
is what they're supposed to do, so.
because Gate Parent, but on this side of the last couple of winters, or not last one, 2 winters before.
Guide wires were up in there too. Yep, so, perfect.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Missing folks.
Mr. Goodrow is not here.
No, we do,
So we'll fall back in about 20 minutes.
20 is too many. We're ready for it. Conservation Commission. No, I got what you're saying. I do have his phone number actually.
Loader grader repair.
It doesn't say in there. Okay, yep. I think I saw that. It's in this folder right here. Okay. Conservation Commission, everybody, we good over there?
Yeah, no.
Okay,
sorry.
just making sure.
Should have a handout,
We do.
their farm timeline, just to help keep you in the loop of what has been happening.
Excellent.
So I'm not gonna read it to you, I think you can scan it, it's not too complicated.
Well, I don't know, this is a select board.
Okay.
No.
But starting in April, when we asked for the ARPA money, and we're told that we could get matching funds for grants, we started pursuing that. We found out that, we have to get an assessment done before we can even apply for grants. So this all has to do with getting the assessment done. And in the process, we had Charlotte Barrett, who came and was quite impressed with our pretty little green out there and the 3 buildings that are there. And she really strongly suggested, advised us to consider doing an assessment of all 3 buildings at once, just get it done. So we put in for that, and you can see the results. It'd be $500 for the carrot farm, $250 for that little garage, and $500 for the Hearst house. And it would be a 50-50 split between the Preservation Trust of Vermont and the town. So that's where we are. We've got an email saying it's gonna be an awards letter coming in the next couple of weeks. And we have this fellow who's saying, I'm not gonna try to pronounce. He's gonna schedule a visit and hopefully we'll get that done. And he has been in our town before. So I think that hopefully that'll help speed things along.
And this is just an overview to see if it meets their qualifications or.
The actual assessment of what it would cost us. What they'll do is they'll divide it up, what we really need to do first, what's the most dire problems going to, on up through getting it restored. And it really is, I think, a good thing for all of us to have, to know what are we talking about financially to fix those buildings.
Absolutely.
This is step 1.
Excellent. And
Have to ask. What do you mean after conferring with the cemetery committee?
We couldn't give permission for the Hearst house to be assessed because it doesn't belong to the Conservation Commission.
No, but it belongs to the town, not the cemetery.
Well, they're the ones I think that are making decisions on what's happening. right?
No.
Then-
No.
That's not,
Nobody
Yeah.
told us that-
no,
it's,
They know that.
No, I
it's,
They actually brought it to us that they don't own it, we own it.
Right.
Yeah.
own all of these properties.
Technically, the town does own all these properties. Yes.
So like you're the umbrella, and underneath there are all these little groups that are helping you to
Right.
do these things, so you guys don't have to be right there.
but I thought.
But
we
the
were
cemetery
3 buildings
committee
Together, right?
doesn't have any say in any of them.
No.
They don't
So-
belong to any of those.
Cemetery
buildings.
Commission officially relinquished their
Yes.
oversight.
oversight of that a good word, oversight of the Hearst house
Right.
to the town of Bakersfield.
Oh,
Based on law. Right.
Based,
I understood.
based on how the deed was written for the
Right.
park.
oh, I see.
Okay.
So they're not involved in any way, but because of the way it went with the Conservation Commission, they oversee the other 2 buildings. And you oversee the Hearst house?
No.
No.
They don't.
They
oversee-
don't, no, but she's saying the Conservation Commission.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cemetery.
We, that guy.
No,
The Cemetery Commission oversees Maple Grove Cemetery.
well then,
The town oversees. And we work very well with you guys, the Bakersfield Conservation Commission Park
Right.
and the park out here,
okay.
right across the road. Okay, now that is why we tried to get you guys
Paired up.
paired up to take over the park. Just oversight. We don't actually want you to go out there and get your hands into it, just oversight. That's all we were.
Yeah, they already agreed to that one. Don't keep pressing them.
Well, I'm just explaining how it came about.
Part of that, you guys are definitely the ones that are overseeing those.
Yes.
Okay, then is it okay with you that we got you a grant?
Love that, love that. Yes. And I know right now we're on a trial basis and I always forget this guy's name, but we do have Alex
Right.
who is he's doing a test grant for us right now.
Right.
And assuming all goes well and that works, we will hopefully hire him for grants in the future. So, don't be afraid to come back to us and say, hey, how's things going with Alex? Can he help us out? Because the more grants we can get, the better it is for our town. So that's,
I have to say, it sounds like there are a lot of grants out there to the point that I am like overwhelmed.
yes.
That's how we felt. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, we went to the state and they could do this, or you could do that, or you could do this, and I'm like, okay, this is too much. But this is step one. I can do step one.
Excellent.
Alice, you had a question.
I assure you that the cemetery commission very much wants this assessment as well. And they have all given their okay on this. You're well aware of this situation
Excellent.
and, being there all right. Okay, that's.
So,
So I.
so you acknowledge the situation and are aware of it and are happy with how things are set up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
Josh, do we need
We'll
a?
be in touch with the letter.
That's what I was just gonna ask. It says, town would pay $625. Yes, yeah, no,
Yeah, right.
yep, no, I understand. Are you looking for a motion
Right.
or is that something that you have budgeted or is that something that you need?
No, they're coming for,
They're coming.
Okay,
they're coming for ARPA.
okay.
So I would make the motion that we pay the $625 out of our, yeah.
Out of the, what we
Out of what we move to the general fund.
Yeah.
for grants, which this is a grant.
Right,
Okay, can we,
yeah, yeah.
Tammy, do you have that clearer than we said it?
Todd made the motion to pay $625 for assessment out of the general fund.
I put, yeah, but that was transferred to
The general fund, right,
yes.
ARPA grant,
for matching,
correct.
yes.
I didn't know what that.
So what we did, and this is all public knowledge already. So ARPA had threatened, not directly, but indirectly to take the money back if it wasn't used by X date. So in a way to make sure that didn't happen, we moved the money, some to a new equipment fund, some to the general fund. The stuff we moved to the general fund is to cover things that we gave people to work on.
Yep.
And the grant writing. And the stuff for the new equipment is obviously for new equipment for the town, so. And that's, I don't know what date that is, but if you want to read the minutes. You're more than welcome, but, all right, so the motion has been made, seconded, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Just some caveat. Yep. So, and this also goes to you, Alice, for the Historical Society. One other thing, and I know it's ARPA update, but I'm assuming you guys are going to leave. ARPA is they've added another caveat, a wrinkle to a degree. Any money we dispense the people who receive them have to go out and make a sam.gov account.
Yes.
You have to obtain a SAM and also for the fire department, Todd.
Yeah.
So
We have it already,
yeah, I need your sam.gov. It literally, the website is SAM, S-A-M, like Uncle Sam, .gov. You have to go out and make an account for the Historical Society, for the Conservation Commission, now that you're getting 600.
Not to put more on your plate, John, but that may require another meeting just to help people set up, because
Right.
some of them may not be quite so tech savvy.
If you need help, let me know. I'll see what I can do, but there's only
That confused me, and I was like,
It's a contract, remember, it's a contractor ID.
Yeah.
Sam, in that same.
in sam.gov. Yeah, you fill out the form, you tell them your organization, they provide you an ID. I need it because we dispersed funds. It's something that just came through you know, of course, we've already dispensed the funds, so now we have to go back to all the recipients and ask them to go make this.
Now, technically, do they need to fill one out because they're not receiving funds from the ARPA account? They're receiving funds from the general account, which that would mean that the town would have to fill that out.
You're right. I mean, that is a wrinkle that we can use. It's because the town already. Let's smooth them out. Let's smooth them out. We don't need it, but Alice, you need it for the Historical Society.
And I need it for the fire.
Right, and we already have one, I assume. For
Yeah,
the
I just-
town, so
We just saved you a big head.
it just helped you out. One less thing you have.
Okay.
I don't fully understand this, but I will have Linda reach you, okay?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
if you can just get Tammy a name or the group that this check would need to be made out to and sent to.
We talked with them about this, and it will be the town of Bakersfield. But they had to have a person to be responsible. It's gonna be my name, but it's going directly to the town treasurer.
Okay.
Okay,
And our accounts up until this point have always been through the town treasurer.
Okay.
And will remain that way. I think.
so you're gonna write the check over to the town treasurer and we're gonna write the overall check for $1,250 to the person doing the assessment.
One other point. Do we want to consider doing all three buildings together as far as when the grants being done? So let's think about it. It seems like to have two groups doing basically the same thing. I know they're different buildings, but I think if we group them together, you might even get a discount because like this person, okay.
I think that would be that's what we,
Grants too.
No, Alex is our grant writer. So I think as Josh said, we're evaluating how he's doing. And once we have the capability, we're going to, I mean, he's available now. If you want his information, we can get it to you.
I just want to make sure that we do this together. So
Right.
it isn't like you're doing something, we're doing something. It's
Right.
all-
so the grant that we're working on is for upgrade, it's the MERP grant, so it's heating and ventilation for the town garage, this facility, the library, and the North Station, the old fire station. All four of those buildings have outdated heating systems and are not energy efficient, compliant. So the grant we're going for is getting those four buildings up to standard, basically.
Energy efficient.
So beyond that, that's when we would, and this is kind of like his, I don't want to say interview, but like we've hired him and based on how this works, we continue to work with him or we say, thanks for what you did, but we're not really there. So.
All right, so just keep us in the loop, and if there's anything we can do, I mean, you've got, possible grant ideas.
Yes.
I think you're doing a great job.
Yep.
Well, we appreciate your support.
Thank you.
We'll get those
Alex?
buildings up and usable.
Perfect.
A handful of us met with the gals, I think, Kathleen won't come to me. The Northwest Regional. Very recently, and she said that they have people in their office that will also be grant.
Yep.
Help us.
Yes.
Finding and applying for grants.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah, if somebody's willing to help out our town, we're willing to take it
Yeah, Kathy LaVoy has helped us
many times. Yeah.
many times with grants. So, and she's just one of many.
These people do not insist that we use state funds or, and there's not any talk about that. We are on our own to search.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Receive conservation commission.
Oh.
It's on the event now, we
Oh,
want
yeah.
to nominate Julie A. Hill, Sunset View Drive to be our next commission member.
Julie A. Hill.
Julie A. Hill.
A, okay, middle initial. Gotcha.
Sunset.
Do we need that in writing or can we take a verbal nomination
See no reason we can't take a verbal nomination.
All right,
I just in Boston, but.
so
Who's aware of this and if
you're not signing somebody. You gotta be careful, because that's how we get dog catchers in this township. So I would entertain a motion then.
I would make a motion that we accept Julie A. Hill as the next member of the Bakersfield Conservation Commission.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to accept. I'm about to regurgitate it here. Motion's been made and seconded, made by Lance, seconded by Todd, to accept Julie A. Hill to the Conservation Committee. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I like the uniforms and excitement. You gotta get the facial hair thing straight.
I was thinking just hair.
The park bench is, it increases the look of that.
Yeah,
park.
very nice. Yes, it is.
Sounds nice work.
Yeah.
I mean, we should take credit for it being.
Right.
Conservation.
Absolutely.
Sorry, more benches.
Yeah, I didn't say.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Where did the bench come from?
Ivan? That's what Todd, so you turn your mic on and give us some of us haven't gone out on there. Yes, 5-0.
So
Some of us haven't been out on the park to see what happened.
now, if you go out in between the trees on this side towards the town offices, there's a bench, and what they've done is they dug down. And then they put crushed stone, and then on top of the crushed stone is like a metal bench. And they're gonna put, I think, 2 more in there in between the trees.
Yes.
Along this side of the road.
Who's sponsoring that?
That they're actually doing it. Ivan Stone's the one that's been doing the work, him and a few of
Nice.
the volunteers.
Nice.
Very nice.
Excellent.
He was the one asked about, I asked you got, or Josh earlier about that rail of fence. Where it might be, because he was saying either we should pull that post. Or put the fence.
Down here by the
In
cedars.
the corner, there's no section.
It comes down through and then all of a sudden there's no.
I know what happened to that one.
Okay.
What,
He was just saying, do we want,
how hard you hit it?
No, it was an accident involving my daughter.
so he,
She didn't actually go through the fence. She caused the other person. to go
oh,
through the
okay. But he was just saying, should we pull that post and get rid of it? So there's just not a post that's there with no fence rail between.
Good idea.
Then it'll just be an opening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would just be an opening.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much work they're interested in putting into the place, but I've had people come up to me with all sorts of ideas,
Far it is in the ground.
so
Well, I'll tell him if he wants to remove it, remove it.
come forward, sir. And if he calls while we're talking, then we can just put him in.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, he's walking up. Tammy, did you ever respond to CCR?
Yeah.
They were supposedly wanting
Yeah,
to
there's-
talk at this meeting as well tonight. Equipment.
And clean spray water reliable. It's a rock band.
In the emails. Okay, it was in the emails. I found it today.
Do you want me to look through the emails and see if it's still in there?
I don't know. I printed out the one piece that's their guarantee, right, where they guarantee if something, yes. If we get a piece of equipment from them and it's going to be more than 48 hours to get the parts, they'll literally loan us a replacement. We have to pay for it to get up here or pick it up, but they'll loan us a piece of equipment.
Yeah, there he is.
Right.
No man answer it.
Not gonna make
Give me
it.
a second. Hang on. Bakersfield Town. Hey, how's it going, Mike? Yeah, it's Josh. Give me a second here. I'm gonna try to put you on speakerphone. Can you hear me now? You still there? Yep. Okay. You're on speakerphone with the select board and Matt.
Thanks for letting me call in.
You're also being recorded.
Yep, you're also being recorded via Zoom. And anything you say will be used against you.
Okay. Sounds good.
You have his paperwork, his quote. Last time we talked, Mike, we were talking about the 140. And the only other thing I asked was if you were able to give us a quote for that, grader, the older grader.
Yeah. We will take the grader and trade,
Okay,
if you guys are interested in trading the grader.
okay. Do we have a number on that?
The best number that so far is for 15,000.
Did you say 50?
Yeah, that's what I heard, 50.
Boy, I said,
Don't hold that in court.
Right.
15.
That's it. 1.5, okay. And sorry, just trying to get your piece out here. And our starting number there was 162, correct?
Yep.
That has, 2 buckets, a thumb and a quick coupler,
Yep.
Okay.
Probably.
front blade.
Yep.
Okay. Not to pin, two companies against each other here, but I'm gonna. The other company has also made a service agreement where if their equipment's gonna be down for more than 48 hours, they're willing to bring a rental piece up so that we can continue to work. Yeah, free of charge because their machine's gone down. Is that something you can manage that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that you guys understand too that all three of us, Jason, Chad, and myself, all have the high mate on our phone. So anything that would happen to go wrong on the machine, we can be aware of it just as well as you are.
Okay.
I got the app right on my phone. Jason has it on his phone and Chad has it on his phone.
Okay.
Notifies that if something breaks.
Yep. Okay. Anything else you wanted to throw in there to sweeten the pot? Spinners.
I think we'd be willing to work with you. I know the other bid is throwing that 5-year warranty around.
Yep.
I think we'd be willing to work with you. We can get an extended warranty, and B, we'd be willing to include that in the price.
Okay. Do you know what the extension is on that, Mike?
But typically, you can go like another 2 years, and you can, like the one I just did for the town of Hubbardton,
Yep.
was 2 more years and 1,000 hours.
Okay, so that would be 5 years, 4,000 hours.
Yep.
Okay.
And you can do like 3 different options. You can do powertrain, you can do powertrain and hydraulic, you can do hydraulics only, different forms of the warranty that we can go through.
Okay, what is the one that comes through now?
3 years, 3,000 hours.
3 years, 3,000 hours. What is that on though? Is that on drivetrain and hydraulic?
Yep.
Okay. So we'd be talking to go to 5 years, 4,000 miles for drivetrain and hydraulic.
Right.
4,000 hours, 4,000 miles on that's going to be a long time.
Wow. Yep.
Okay, so that covering a loaner if we're down and out for more than 48 hours.
Yep.
Transportation.
Right, that includes getting your machine here and our machine back, right?
Yep.
Yep, okay,
No, it's not that. If your machine is down, we're not, the trucking charge is not gonna be the town of Bakersfield issue.
okay,
We'll take care of that.
perfect. So we'll just throw your rig on when you come up to get ours. That works.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Mike says he hopes that doesn't happen, but
I mean, we have to hope that, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
okay. Any other questions for him? No. Mike, I appreciate it. We're gonna scratch our heads and see what we can come up with here and hopefully Michael will reach out to you.
Thanks again for letting us, give this. Too, and, you know, I think it's important to know that, we've been a Hyundai dealer for 10 years, and, you know, and he's really, he feels strongly that he's got more than 10 years left into being a Hyundai dealer. He's not going anywhere, and, you know, Hyundai makes a good product, and we really, we feel it'd be a good fit for the town.
Perfect. Perfect. Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.
All right.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
This is,
Um,
there's a little more money.
it's a little more money up front. I mean, not if you take the grader and trade. Well, I mean, yeah, still if you take the grader and trade.
DCR wouldn't take the grader and change.
I would, but I don't much more. You got 15. I think you'd be better off putting it out there bids if you want to do it.
I agree with Mac. I think if we were to sell it outright and put that money back into the new equipment fund. I feel like you could buy a trailer for what that grader's worth. Yeah. I mean, willing to match everything is. I mean,
He more than matched, actually.
Yeah, because you're doing the trucking. Of course, his trucking's not very far in. Right?
true. And if he's, I mean. I couldn't understand why you wouldn't pay for trucking if you're coming up to get the piece of equipment. Why wouldn't you just put the piece of
That's
equipment on?
DCR's not, they're making it plain, they're not paying
Oh, so
for
it's
it.
just a matter of-
Right, but what I'm saying is, why wouldn't you?
I know.
You're coming from the shop, put the grader, you put the excavator on there, bring it up, take it off, put the other one on. It's,
If it's something that doesn't.
Can I see the CCR one?
yeah. That's this part.
Your guard,
Yes, that is a case,
that's the one that kind of throws into perspective what we're doing.
right? So a case, which, if you're familiar with equipment, there's, there's like the big three, kind of like automotive. There's, you got your John Deere, your Cat, and your Case are kind of the ones that have been around the most. And they are, they're $215
Just.
as opposed to,
Side note, Mark actually got up with the guy that he was talking more.
Mike,
Same.
what, 165?
yeah. So
Mike was 160.
This.
162.
Compare that
Two.
Comparable to the one that you.
Mike.
It's a little bit bigger.
That's, I just, last time.
162.
162.
Looking at price line.
What's CCR?
I wanted to make sure.
CCR is Sandy.
Yeah.
Sandy.
Where'd it go?
Oh, that makes sense.
Terry's got it.
Terry has quote.
Where is the
That's why the
quote for Sandy? It's right- No, it's the quote's right here. Sorry. They're all right here. It's just a matter of.
That's what I printed out. So in the video,
Mhm.
there's a couple things you talk about, the parts that they're sourcing CCR, that's why I printed that out for you guys. The parts they're sourcing, it's 60% US based, 40% China, and they're working that down. They're trying to get it to 100% US based.
Mhm.
They say that 90% of the large parts they had, they can get overnighted up here.
Mhm.
And there's checks up here.
We also looked at the fact that there was 4 Sandy dealers in the northeast. They're gonna like 30
On there.
Hyundais.
Hmm.
So
That's
it's
a big-
probably a bigger fan base, or not fan base, but sales and service from Hyundai, right?
Yeah,
And again, the creature comforts was not quite the same.
I would say, what is this? What is the Sandy running for a motor?
It was good.
It is.
So, I mean, like, you'd have, I mean, you kind of have to know diesel, but I mean, the Hyundais are running a Cummins.
Yeah, we should.
Everybody and their brother can work on a Cummins if it's a motor issue.
What did you say Sandy was?
Sandy is in a Isuzu.
No, I think they said in the video it's Cummins.
Did they? What does it say here, though? It would,
And that it says it's.
Not sometimes, but we just want
You probably have to order it special.
somewhere on there, it's gonna say it was-
The video is like, I want to say it was 9 minutes long or 10 minutes long. It came into the town of Bakersfield, BT, town of Bakersfield.
Not much for specs
Gmail
on
account.
this rig.
I saw, like I said, I was at work, I saw it, and I'm like, oh, obviously I can't. They said print this paper, and they were saying they wanted to come to tonight's.
There's
meeting.
not much for specs on it.
No.
That's, that one got thrown
That's
in
what
there.
that's-
That's-
that was
Yeah.
here.
I think they sent it last Thursday.
Well,
Close to apples to apples, but
Yeah.
it's not.
But not hundred percent.
The foot day isn't. Got longer reach, it's
Yeah.
got the, and it's got the bigger motor, and I'm not sure if that one had the two pumps, and Sandy had one pump or the hydraulic pump.
What,
Could we go back to, and I don't want to cause a wrinkle.
They're not getting a blade with this one, right?
Yes.
Right, so-
They do not have-
CCR has a blade?
Yes,
Okay,
it just might not be.
yeah, it's not listed. It's not listed there because it's actually part of the chassis
okay.
system. These are add-ons to the.
the drive and the functions are separate on motors? On the pumps?
So that's as close to apples as we can get.
Yeah.
So you can break the function and still drive.
I believe so.
Yeah.
The 130 that we actually demoed from Dietz was a 70 horsepower tractor, because that's under the DEF rating.
Mhm.
These are both above that.
So they have to have that.
So you gotta have that.
Yeah.
But CCR does not have, or Sandy doesn't have one that's a little bit bigger horsepower. They had a 155, but it was the same thing with a zero tail swing instead of that.
Yep. I mean. The only thing that makes me a little nervous about the Sani is they've just kind of popped up.
They are selling a lot of them.
They are selling a lot of them.
People are liking them, the people I've talked to do like them.
We just, there's no,
But there isn't history.
there's no history. I mean, I know I can go 10-mile radius and put my hand on probably 15 of the Hondas. And not new machines either, older machines that are still running. They're all 2 years old. They do seem to be the smaller units.
Again, and I can only go to the video. There's a guy who does a lot of, I forget what they call them, but he's huge in Vermont. He's using a used 2014 Sandy. That still, he says, runs just like the brand new ones he has, and he does all this ditch work and all. I would say before making a decision, watch the video, at least you'll see this guy, and somebody, I can't think of his name. It was just something I was doing during a meeting at work, watching it.
What did Mark say?
I didn't say that out loud. It's in the town of Bakersfield email address that we all should have access to.
I don't have it.
What did Mark say about the?
What is it?
It's
It was.
town of
Much
Bakersfield
more friendly.
at gmail.com.
Cab, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Easier to get in.
I'll tell you the password after the meeting.
Again, it wasn't a huge seat, but it was.
Gmail.com.
He thought it was a better cab. Let's put
He
that.
said he had
If-
Seat, you know, Sandy.
So give us password afterwards.
I mean, otherwise track length and reach, they're pretty comparable.
Reach is a little bit less than the Sandy, but not much.
Mhm.
As far as loading up over the side of the dumps though, either one would work.
I can't remember, Terry, I think you were having problems with that email address when we set it up last year, or Kathy set it up last year. But we'll get it on there.
But just out of curiosity, what's the price difference between the two? Is
Huh?
it huge or is it pretty close?
Yeah, yeah, it's
So
the video. So you
162
see
here.
it, right, yeah.
And
Well, there's two things. There's the printout I did.
But that's a.
There were two pieces in there.
140.
One of them is the story. It's like a 9-minute video, 9 or 10 minutes. I forget.
150.
Buy it back for it.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah, where did that-
They would say
15.
But that was a smaller unit, wasn't it, than you said? Because this one says 142.
That's what the price of the machine is, but if you don't like it within 2 years, they'll buy it back.
Oh, that's what that was, okay, that makes sense.
If I got that right.
Now that makes sense then, what we saw, yeah, okay.
You know,
Yeah, so you lose that 30,000.
That's on the paper. somewhere.
Okay.
How soon?
Okay.
Okay,
Want to move on this?
so it's 20,000 different.
I mean. Money,
Okay, that makes,
That makes a little more sense. 115 for, yeah, that's.
I mean, realistically, we're talking a $20,000 difference.
a difference. 'Cause this one was,
What was the warranty on that one?
That's what.
That was 5 years, 4,000.
Think it's
that's
5,000.
162.
4,000 minus.
I mean,
Yeah, hours. Or hours.
Yeah.
You keep saying
sorry, I said, I did the same thing.
I'll take miles.
Yeah, that's a long time in an excavator.
Either one of them probably would not put down 20.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
You're not.
well,
gonna-
actually, I don't see where they have.
Don't leave it alone.
Well, I was,
No, just-
yeah, there wasn't.
Look on the printout that's in color I printed out from work. I think it's in there. Yeah, read that. I believe it's there.
If it should break down.
Yeah. But the big difference is they're willing to transport it free, they're charging you.
Oh, we can go back to if we decided we wanted to take, give that any kind of thing and say.
I say we go on there.
For the return.
I'm kind of leaning.
I'm no excavator expert, so, you know.
No, I can't say that I am either. I run equipment.
Read that.
So that's what I'm saying. Watch the video. One of you guys make these. She has it. If I forget the gentleman's name, but he's like the Ditch King of Vermont or something.
If you put a big guy in that,
75 years old, still driving the things.
So we'd have to add them to an insurance.
Billy Madison.
So Terry just pointed out this,
That's the same.
on the loaner. The loaner program does not pay for transportation.
No.
Other fees may apply for this item such as fuel, cleaning, any damages that may occur to the loaner machine.
Yeah.
And municipalities will have to add CCR as an additional insured.
Yeah.
That was the one wrinkle I read.
Yeah, so I mean,
Big disclaimer there.
I mean, it's, yeah,
I don't.
So you'd have, I would want to see
If Mike.
theirs in
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah.
Before we agreed to anything, exactly what it's gonna be
Right.
and see it in writing before you just agree.
I agree.
Want to see, because you wanna make sure stuff like that's not added to it.
Yeah.
They may say free transport, throw something else in the cost.
this is something that's in stock, and when we make the deal, it'll be here. Okay.
so
I'll call,
Pete,
yeah.
Mike.
Mike,
Not Mike.
No, it's- yeah, he just said his name, yeah, exactly.
I'll call Jason tomorrow and ask him if he can send it up, and we'll send it to you guys,
Yeah.
whatever. Send it.
Make sure he touches base with Mike so he knows what he's sending up.
Yeah.
My assumption, and I know it's just an assumption, my assumption would be it's the same as their rental policy.
I would think so.
Is what it would be, is we were taking a rental unit and
The only problem sometimes that it's, if that's a unit wasn't maintained, you know.
absolutely,
You know, you're paying the maintenance.
yeah,
That's, yeah.
Yeah, I would just,
so that's gonna be the same for any of them, yeah.
but I would have that put in writing before. To make sure we know exactly what our warranty is gonna be.
Good point.
I agree. I think maybe sell the grader outright would be a.
I think that's a better bet.
If they offered you 25,000, I might have strongly considered it, but if
Cool.
15, that, yeah.
And that's the thing, they're gonna take it for 15, they're gonna do some basic maintenance and sell it for 20, 25, 30,000.
You know, the 15, because we had somebody in Maine that was thinking about it and they backed out on.
Yeah.
Okay,
That price, we might as well keep it.
Yeah.
That's what I was
The other
thinking.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And get it, that's, we put it out to bid to get a bid. We
It's
got-
not,
Have a wing,
Right.
you put chains for it, it's for, so we started putting a $30,000 wing like new on that
Right.
grader.
Yep. At the stage of that.
We only run it. Say 2 weeks out of the year,
Yep.
40, 50 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it should not break.
I wouldn't give it away.
Stuff can break.
I wouldn't give it.
No, absolutely. not.
so
I'll get a hold.
in thinking of this, just because. I was talking with Mac with,
Extended warranty,
yeah,
agreement for extended
It's
warranty.
extended it to 5 years, 4,000 hours. It's spinners.
And then, yeah, more than that.
so the only other thing that. That I was talking to Mac about before the meeting
Tell you later.
is. We are at that point where, if we're thinking this is the machine that we want to go with. For this little caveat right here. Then. We should probably pull the trigger on it, because now is the time they would be going to Greens to rent one.
Yep.
So if we can get that here and get it. working.
Yeah.
It's needed.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just putting that out there. It is, it's coming.
As soon as we get
That's
that
the contract.
agreement in writing.
I'll hit him tomorrow, make sure
Yep.
that- Make sure that Mike's on. Basically about the extended warranty, you need to cover it.
And
That's-
and the free.
That's what I'm wondering, is if we need to,
And you said.
Mac, if that goes through and they, just put everything in there and there's no questions asked.
Yeah.
If we need to call a special meeting to approve this,
Yeah.
let us know.
Yeah, I'll let you know tomorrow what he says, and then if he sends me a copy, which I'll tell him to send me.
Do you want that? That's kind of what I scratched the notes on as far as what Mike was agreeing to. I think we could ask for like a second excavator and he might have thrown that in there. I don't know. He was,
Yeah.
If he sends me up, the thing tomorrow, I'll forward to you guys.
Yeah.
I'll put it.
I agree.
So if we don't do a trade-in,
Yeah.
can we get a better price?
Yeah.
I don't think so, because that was before the trade-in.
that was.
That was his price.
Even before.
Just ask it.
Yeah, no, but that's usually how it works. You go and say, I want to trade this, and that's when the price goes up and the price comes down. And you get nothing.
Yeah.
With the car.
Right.
This, all these quotes were written up without
Before the
trade.
This, and yeah, this was, we were quoted no trade-in, no financing. Which, because if you finance, they
That's another-
tack on another 8%, 3%, but, all right,
But
that's,
because this is cash deal,
Yeah.
I would think there might be a little,
The wiggle.
there might be some wiggle there.
It's already been done.
I was gonna say, I've been beating on this guy since freaking
No financing.
May, April. How many different rigs have we had up here?
But the damn CCR. Come back a little shorter than you.
Oh,
Mhm.
Doesn't hurt.
No.
Hurt that, and go the free rent, the free loaner.
yeah, man.
Yeah, we're just trying to get close to what we would be paying.
Yeah, which, to be honest with you, unless it's something that could be down for a week. Because if you have it and you can start doing jobs late spring,
Mhm.
you're not really gonna rush for that machine.
But if you break it in the middle of putting in a culvert.
Yeah, nowadays trying to get parts is like pulling teeth.
Yeah,
We got Mac, I
Nobody
did
starts
get
anything
one,
anymore.
No.
someone stopped by the house the other day and Jamie Curtis. And asked about cutting back. Of a road where he lives, if we could cut back, because he said when he meets cars now, there's no room for both cars to go by each other.
The
So
road.
I said I would bring it up to Mac. I said I will let him know. I said I'm not promising anything, but they'll go up and take a look and see what they can do.
that one's pretty narrow.
Yeah,
I mean, just the road in general.
itself. I mean, that's why I said it may take,
I think it's the higher branches, because going up and down.
yeah, with this equipment, yes. yes.
That's actually a second, that's another, there's been another complaint up there too.
Okay.
Which I had already passed on to Mac.
For the same thing.
For the same thing, kind of, or-
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's what he was.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna complain because of the potholes on King Road. Rating again. Okay.
Sorry, potholes, there's speed bumps. Slow down.
Speed bumps. I almost lost my car yesterday. I was like, what in the heck? Of course,
What do? You come in from this end and go to that light just so you can complain?
from Richard's way, but there was the shade.
Back from Tequila Friday.
And man, I
Friday,
was like, holy
were you coming back from Tequila Friday?
Yes.
no, I missed that this week because I had the golf tournament.
Yeah, it's Margarita Friday.
Margarita, whatever.
Don't ask.
I stuck that up.
Any other, yeah, Margarita Friday, so you.
That's
It's like, oh, yeah.
Kings Hill Road, not King Road. Margarita Fridays.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Danny. Straight that from the nose.
No, I
Any other issues with anything else? He has an issue.
Take out.
I owe the town of Bakersfield for partial day's use of the stump grinder.
We don't have the bill yet.
Okay, that's fine.
I just want to make that right up front.
Yeah.
They were done with it.
Yeah.
Well, they thought they were done with it. And they said, well, you still got it. And they dropped it off at my house and I don't know, 3 hours,
I would say you had.
3 hours and ground up a bunch of stumps on mom and dad's
Yeah.
lawn there and he showed up. I just finished and he showed up and they needed to grind some more. So they took it back.
Yeah, we needed to lower that one between the fire station.
Yeah.
That was like.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, just give me a bill for it.
Did you
or
find
just
it?
let me know.
Total,
Now,
9 hours. I
That's.
yeah, but you rented it for 2 days. Don't you rent it by the day?
understand that, but I just thought that was, I thought we ran.
That thing was absolutely amazing.
New teeth, huh?
Brand new team. It was the one with all radio remote, full-time four-wheel drive.
You can go anywhere.
That sore. Standing here doing this, man, I couldn't get that chair. Sat out there parking like this.
I took my side by side. I sat in my side by side and ran it all over the lawn.
Yeah.
You gotta sit there and just keep working it.
Yeah.
Where'd you rent it from?
Nope.
Nice.
300.
Wow, that's way cheaper than what the cemetery wanted.
Yeah.
Anywho, any other road issues? Concerns, comments? No,
I didn't.
So,
until
just-
now.
just one more thing about this before we go away from it.
she's talking to Heights Hill.
The,
What's his name?
Yeah. The water going to the,
The exit.
they ditched it, right?
Yeah,
Ditched it?
yeah, we,
very nice.
yeah,
Okay.
we did that. That was a couple meetings ago. We talked about that.
Exactly up there when he was doing it, and they asked if that's what we should do, and he said that's what I would do, and now the water comes down and goes right down the edge of my ditch.
Taylor did say that depending on how much they were accessing that point, they might replace the culvert that was there because,
Don't need to.
okay, he said if it got bad, they were just gonna put in what was there, but they,
You left a very gradual swale.
Yeah,
sorry.
Oh. Back to the stump grinder.
all right,
Is it agreeable with the select board that I owe for 1/3 of the use of that machine?
sure.
You said you put 9 hours on it. I had it at 3. I didn't look at the time.
I'm in agreement with that.
Okay, thank you.
So am I.
I'd like to charge double. No. Just joking.
Turn your mic on.
So when that bill comes in, just
Right.
remind us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I won't remember that.
I would.
You'll remember she said charge double too, right? Anything else on the roads? Thank you. I said something to Mac at the last meeting about Waterville Mountain. And you went up there. I don't even think it was during a meeting. I think I just swung in and talked to you.
One way or the other.
Yeah,
We actually put a 50/50 next to that stone that we have left over from spring in the hill, and it seemed to stay pretty good. There's one little watch there now, but
that's a hard hill not to watch. There's no place for the water to go except for,
we were
Yeah.
also hoping to get the excavator. That would be one of the places we would go up, clean those ditches out. Culverts all seem like they're working really good up there.
Yeah.
but, You know, it's just from Bear Bend down through.
yeah.
Yeah,
We could blast that big rock out of there.
that would be nice.
You don't know anybody with some,
Well, I do, but that might be.
I know someone was working real close. So
I'd say, tell them I'll give them extra money if we can wear that. Part of the way.
Officer, to not have bears den,
Hey,
that's like historic.
Right.
That's as good as a hearse house over here.
Well, let's put some extra money in popping that. Oh, put in some rebar and concrete. You like that, John? Rebar and concrete?
You're
Yeah.
gonna be making
Do you know what we're talking about?
a hikers.
Come on, you ever been over Waterville Mountain?
You've never been over Waterville Mountain?
Tomorrow, over Waterville Mountain Road. Well, I'm down in South. You might have to put that Dodge in four-wheel drive, but take it up over Waterville Mountain.
I'll go right up the mountain.
It's gonna be up there, you can go.
Okay. Did you have the chance to address the far side of Joel?
We went, right after we went up there, we would say, oh, he did some awful good as we go plugging in, he pulled the sides in, we put a couple loads of gravel up the top, and this, you know, dispersed the water at the very top,
Yeah.
and he went up. a Couple days later with a grader, figuring after that heavier rain we got, that it would be all washed again, and he said it was back in there like some.
Thank you. Yeah, that's cool. Beats. I only wrote it that one time. I've written it since, so.
Ready it all into the pastures. Any other road issues?
One question.
I had one too, dude. This was way back when we were up there walking, the one between the top of the hill and his driveway, did that get located in?
The culvert?
We have not had.
No? Okay. No, we'll have an excavator, we can locate that one too.
Yeah, we'll make sure the water goes down with John's.
Yep.
This is more employee, but are we getting applications
But does it go in-
for that open position?
That would be a question for Tammy.
Drive, coming down the drive again.
When does it close?
I think we said we want to hire ASAP.
Inquire, okay.
But they both have families.
Yep.
They have insurance policy for cover families and they can't afford to actually.
Okay, no, I was just the question I had. I didn't know if we, so, okay. Thank you.
Nothing else?
Run back. Run.
Yeah, run.
Don't give us 8 seconds to think, just run.
All right,
I'm not gonna forget this. Oh, except the weather radiation.
oh, yes, no, that's a good point. I don't have it with me, in front of me here though, but, accept Dan's letter of resignation.
Make a motion to accept Dan's letter of recommendation.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of accepting Dan's resignation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations.
I did.
I'm sorry, Brenda. They accepted it.
All right, so we have on here treasurer update. Have we got anything? Is there really an update?
Oh,
The only update is, I spoke with the,
KBS,
who?
KBS.
KBS said that Bakersfield could not afford an accounting firm because they're probably paying about $200 an hour. So that's all. Bookkeeping, I did talk to Young's Accounting. They would not consider it because they do taxes. And so for the first 7 months, they do payroll, couldn't even do payroll. She did say there was somebody she heard that had a bookkeeping firm that they were thinking of closing. Possibly she'd want to do something. She wouldn't give me a name. We were gonna check with her, I have not heard back. So with VLCT, we can't just have a firm. We have, like, we can have a treasurer who just delegates out to a firm. The firm's work has to be checked over by the town treasurer and signed off on, because the town treasurer is the one who's responsible for the figures and out. So here's that, the treasurer might as well be doing the work.
Exactly.
To be able to back up the numbers.
LCT, you have any suggestions? Because they figure it out. Sorry, did.
You know, advertise this position, 4 or 5 times already in the paper. I don't have any.
And what's there? Nothing?
What,
No, they said we could have an interim treasurer. We got one.
Right.
No advice. There's 4 or 5 towns in the state that are having this problem.
are we the only town that doesn't have town clerk and treasurer together?
No,
No,
no.
not if there's 4 or 5 towns that are in the same boat we are.
Most of them are separate now.
There's 4 or 5 towns in the same boat we are that are trying to get a treasurer.
So,
And we'd have to convince someone to do both spots. I don't think that person.
Right, I mean-
One of them's gonna be too happy with that thought.
just for our awareness, the county
What's
carrier
that?
no longer does print. They're only on online service.
Really?
So we may not want to,
Perfect.
Just that,
you know what I'm
We
saying?
can advertise online by ourselves.
Right.
Okay,
I did, town website as well, so both ads are on the town website.
So the only, the only other options we have is really to go to a neighboring town and see if their treasurer wants to pick up part-time work here, if they're doing part-time at the other town. Yeah, see if there's a town treasurer at a neighboring town since it's appointed now.
problem is that, it's like Vera said, it's part-time 85% of the time, but it's very
Demanding in
high end.
September, October.
Yeah.
So if the only way we can get, and this is gonna make some people lose their hair, some of us are already there. If the only, if the only way, if the only way to get a part-time treasurer, if we can match up with, let's just say Fairfield, right? Was to get the Fairfield treasurer part-time up here, then maybe we look at moving when our taxes are due.
We've talked.
And ones that when our Fairfields do.
That's exactly, if they're
think-
doing October as well.
Don't they do 2 installments?
They do too.
They do, yeah.
So I mean, I'm just on Fairfield because it's right here.
Yeah,
but-
no, I hear what you're saying.
Or when you leave, maybe your wife will consider taking the treasurer's
But we
position.
can't, we can do an estimate, but we'd have to have an adjustment later. We can't set the tax rate
Right.
until
The school
like
does.
July or early August because the state sets the school
Right.
rate.
Well, yeah, I was thinking ratchet it 1 month later or something, make it in November.
It just makes the problem we already have worse.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure a way to get somebody in here.
I mean,
No, yeah.
the financial
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
Well, the other issue, not issue, the other solution to that is we have the 18-month tax and go fiscal year. As opposed to, I know, I'm just saying, that's, trust me, I remember.
Well, it's not gonna get fixed tonight, but
It's, yeah, I mean, it was,
and
yeah, it doesn't matter when we collect the taxes if we don't have a treasurer.
Right.
So, I mean, just getting somebody that,
Try running at one time in the Burlington
Burlington Press.
press
sure,
Yeah, it's got a lot of,
I mean,
Got nothing to lose at this point.
versus,
More information yet, like tantalizing with an amount.
They're looking at what the-
you advertise that in the Burlington Free Press with the amount we're spending. That ain't gonna tantalize anybody. That's gonna drive them away.
Yeah.
your
We
mic's
don't,
off.
we're not big enough. We're not. I mean, you want somebody with experience and knowledge of what's going on and
The only way we're gonna attract someone,
I'm
and I
surprised
hate to say this,
how they're
is you gotta pay them a lot more.
Yeah, you gotta overpay.
just because it's a.
see, my head went the other way.
Younger.
My head went the other way. My head was, why couldn't we find somebody who's like, you know, has taken like the business course at the tech center and has the, wants to get into something like that. It'd be a great start.
Like an internship if you want to.
Yeah, where you could work part-time here and then have a part-time job with somebody like Young's or something like that.
Have we
I've-
been talking to like some of the colleges to see if there's an internship that we might be able to get a hold of?
I don't even know who does I don't know even who does accounting or anything like that anymore.
You're gonna get someone that's gonna be just a year.
Yeah.
To train somebody again next year.
It's not even a year though, usually it's a semester.
Yeah, run it in the free press one time, a couple times. I don't know.
I do think you gotta put the amount that you're offering, range.
Because
I do.
people don't know if they want to bother.
Right.
And if you give them something, you gotta give them something, I mean, you did it.
We never put anything with ours.
It's dependent upon experience usually.
Yeah, but you never see, I mean, in a construction ad, maybe you'll see a range
Yeah.
and it'll say, 20 to 28 hours based on experience. Well, let me tell you, $8 an hour, that's a big gap and we don't even have a range that we would be willing to offer is the problem.
Paying minimum wage. I mean, I'm just saying, is that what you're saying? Minimum wages?
So if you go up what Vera said, she said, she can do it in 100 and something hours, but it's an
Right,
unfair scale.
right.
So if you look at what she was saying for inexperience, 400 or 500 hours for the first couple of years, and then you
Yeah.
gotta figure you know, they'll dwindle, but you know, you have that.
Yeah.
And, you know, putting out per hour, you know, so many dollars per hour is fine. They just need to understand that it's, you know, as they learn, they're gonna need
Or
less
is it a
hours.
salary position? That's, I mean,
Yeah,
that's.
but that's salary.
That was the issue we had
And
is,
at that time, you're gonna have to pay them more every year.
Right, and that's
Well,
exactly it.
and that was the thing, was that was why we were hourly.
Mhm.
Until Vera basically said that she worked herself out of a job. That's why it got switched to salary, because
Right.
you shouldn't be penalized for doing your job well and fast.
Exactly.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a ton of underlying issues. I think you're right though, John. I think we look at neighboring towns first. See if there's, run it in the free press, but then look at neighboring towns, see if there's anybody that has part-time work that's looking to add part-time work.
Yeah,
Do you
'cause if
know who
people-
does Fairfield?
No,
Is it Linda herself?
it might be.
So,
Some of them are, some of them aren't. If you call Montgomery, you will get a definite no, because I've already tried that one.
Enosburg, the same, like Enosburg.
Administrator, but I think.
Well, I know one.
That's, I spoke with her,
Who's that?
but the town clerk didn't know, you know. I mean, it's
What town clerk?
fair,
Yeah, I mean, if you
I
look
think
on,
they have a separate.
if you look at what we're currently set at 18,
She
right?
did
18,000 as a salary.
mention at one
just-
time.
Thought it was
Yeah.
22.
but that's.
Thought it was 18.
I'd have to look into it.
All right, well, let's just say 18 for the sake of argument for the moment. At 100 hours or 200 hours to accomplish, it's $90 an hour.
Mhm.
You know, but if they don't have the knowledge, that then becomes a 400-hour job. You're looking at, you know, 40, 30. Right? So
Yeah.
you still get the same amount, you get it done quicker, you just make more per hour. You know what I mean?
Right,
And if you go with your estimate, you're still in the same ballpark, right?
well, that's why we had, when we had our last treasurer,
Mhm.
you know, they wanted more money,
Yes,
but we didn't have the hours to back it up.
right,
So we said, work for an hourly rate based off your salary.
right. Now
And they were
you-
like, no, we're not gonna do that.
That's
Was,
exactly it, right.
so, yeah, there's a lot of discussion to be had around that one, I guess, but run it there, reach out to the towns. Get something, anything at this point is better than, we just gotta keep trying.
Do the Burlington Press, it's got a big publication.
Yeah.
And I would say just try to reach out to some neighboring towns and see if any of their potential, you know, part-time treasurers would be interested in the second half. And of course, when their taxes are due is an important.
Does
point.
VCLT have any kind of a point where they put ads or anything?
But we already ran that.
I bet,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Unfortunately not. The only other thing, and this sounds horrible, is like Craigslist.
No,
You know, they have an employment section. I know. Be quiet, Josh.
no.
Some folks don't even know what you're brushing about, but
Right.
Craigslist has an employment section
Oh,
out
I
there
know,
that
yeah.
you could do.
Yeah, they,
Stop it. Don't get me laughing.
Ed's gonna go.
And Dave.
All right, MERP. MERP update, Alex has submitted the initial paperwork load down to the planning commission to have Mac guided tour the 4 facilities. Mac has a key to the library, so that's covered. We're pretty much on track. The only thing I would say, and I don't know, Tammy, were you here today in the office? Did Alex show up for, no, not yet, because I think I just sent the email. So Vera gathered up all of the, from 2021 up to the date, all of the electric bills and fuel bills she could find for our building here and what she could find for the library and things like that, so that we could substantiate. a
When are they
potential-
doing the tour?
Well, they're going to contact Mac and they're going to schedule it with Mac. So it hasn't been scheduled as of yet, correct? No.
Warrants and reports. I'm skipping over C because I feel like that one's gonna take a minute. Warrants and reports, everybody's had a chance to look at those except for me, correct?
Yep.
Okay, review the mail. There's a lot of people reaching out about the flooding and
What, yeah, the help.
they want to help. I received multiple calls from Franklin Northwest Regional. And
Help what?
they want to help financially if anything happened. We didn't have any damage, so there's really nothing. I did put them in touch or told them to call the Jarvis Farm because they had some substantial crop loss.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, I don't think there was anything in town. If,
Which mostly isn't even in our town.
yeah, mostly it wasn't in our town. I just knew that they had crop loss and it was anything that I knew of, so.
Yeah,
I know my ground's starting to get very non-absorbent. I'll put that out right now. We get my.
oh, yeah.
The other thing that was brought to my attention, well, people were leaving and moving around and stuff, was this letter that we looked at, I believe, last time about the property on Kings Hill Road that was discussed today. And I was just made aware that, can you hand this one to Tammy so that it's on file too, Todd?
What's that?
Can you hand that to Tammy, please?
This is what they were referring to?
Filed, please. Yes, Sharon.
Yeah.
Reminded me of this letter. And it does state some information that would change or we would not accept if upgrades were made. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Wait, who's this letter? Who's this letter? Because it says we agreed to take care of it.
Yeah.
This is from them?
From them, yep.
Okay,
So what what they're asking is they're asking for a, reduction of their taxes because their land is inaccessible year round, which is on a class 4 road. It is accessible one season out of the year.
Right.
I don't believe any,
Says it,
yeah.
have to be passable for one season a year. Says it in the meeting notes from 2020.
So the problem is the last paragraph right there, the information provided by the Lunos. We felt that the functional, I'm not even gonna pronounce it.
Need to be adjusted.
Functional appreciation.
So they
Yeah.
did adjust.
So they did adjust them. So now they've had their taxes adjusted down because it's not as accessible as they feel it should. But if we correct it, now they're paying a lower tax rate because it's not accessible, but we've actually upgraded it so that it's perfectly accessible.
So then they
well,
would
they
have,
can,
they would have to
they can go back
readjust it.
and readjust it.
Okay.
That's what would happen.
Yeah, just making sure that everybody's aware. Yep, yep, and that's, that was in there, so I just wanted to make sure that everybody,
Yeah, I would say
Sharon.
they can readjust it at that.
Karen
time.
wanted me to.
I just don't even know why
That
that
out.
adjustment. It's accessible one season out of the year. That's what a class 4 road definition is, as far as it's been explained to me.
That's
So why we would have changed our tax rate? And, you know, I understand, just as a caveat to this, the coverts are fine. And according to the definitions that they provided, we're responsible for coverts and for bridges. I'm not saying don't fix or don't assist in fixing the issue.
So what the problem is due to the culvert plugging, it diverted the water, the stream bed.
It found.
I mean, if that was,
So we were the causal.
so I mean, theoretically, the culvert was the cause. I mean, we were up there, we looked at it. I mean, even if you move it or put another culvert in or whatever, the beavers are just gonna dam at the culvert because it's the narrowest spot.
Right.
If you want to go for a good ride, that I recommend going to that one too. That one's fun. But yeah, I don't think it's something that is gonna be a quick fix, no matter what. It's gonna take. I mean, if you divert the water, the beavers are gonna move.
Divert the water, is that gonna get the EPA involved in this whole thing?
I'll be honest with you.
I'm saying you're changing the stream beds among.
I'll be honest with you, the only people that are gonna go up there. I mean, the state's not gonna go up there.
Right.
It's not gonna happen. The only people that are going up there right now are the Lunos, loggers and ATVers. And the ATVers, as soon as the beavers dam that up, they're gonna see that as a place to play. So they're gonna bomb off before the culvert, go through the mud, come back on the other side, and
Make it worse.
it won't make it worse, as you can make the wet spot a mud hole. So I mean, it's really,
So how many times are we gonna fix it? Is this
How
a
many
one and
times?
done?
how many times have we? Yeah, because as soon as that's, because as soon as that's done, it's gonna become a trail. That's why trail has been added to the roads from here on out. We will look at it.
To notify everyone there to deal.
On that road?
Right, but what I'm saying is if we start looking at all of our class 4 roads right now, just like Enosburg is,
And they're doing all three.
and go through them, even if we do them one by one. At least we're making an attempt to get to where we need to be, so that it's not costing the town to fix roads that get traveled by 4-wheelers only, so. Brigham Academy,
I'll make sure you look into it and do it right, because it wasn't done right in the past.
the last time we did it,
Mhm. Well, not us here,
oh,
but the town.
Oh,
not the one we did, not Skinner Hill. I think she's referring to a different trail.
which one?
I don't know. It's not the Brigham Academy, because that's what we're on. That's not a trail, it's a building.
Brigham Academy, all right. I've been in touch with Kathy Lavoy, and there still is interest from the initial party. This party still wishes to remain anonymous. Certain people are trying to exert pressure at different points to force me to reveal who this person is.
Well, we're gonna give this person a deadline pretty soon. Because he's not working very fast.
There have been some issues in this person's life, so. I'm not gonna give anybody an ultimatum over Brigham Academy, otherwise we may not.
They'll just walk away.
They'll just walk away is right, and we will have anything. The other thing is,
Something.
the other thing is, I need the permission from the board to contact our council and have, let me see if I can get where this is. Opinion of council on both contract for administrative and professional services, namely the NRPC, Northwest Regional Planning Commission, and Paul Dreher, to make sure they're legal binding and meet the requirements of the grant agreement. So I just got to present these to our lawyer, who I assume is still Mike Gahn.
Does it
We
have
haven't
to be?
changed,
We haven't changed.
so.
Can we change?
You have
We
another,
tried to, but he's got so many things going on. The other guy's got so many things going on. He just said, I don't have time for you.
There's gotta be more than 2 in this.
Yeah, but I don't want to change right now because I need to get this done.
to have documents looked at to make sure they're legal.
Yeah. So,
I mean, if we're gonna move forward, Brigham, we're gonna have the contracts reviewed.
Yep.
Or whatever term, so I'll make.
that's the last step need before I can apply for repayment on the grant.
This is what we've done every year, right? Or every couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to take these documents and have them reviewed by our council.
Ooh,
Go ahead.
I'm just checking. Is, I assume, still Mike Khan.
that's what he's asking.
I'm not saying,
There will be
let me just insert this. I'm not saying that we should stay with Mike Gunn. I'm just saying this is not the right time to jump on a new horse.
What does it usually cost for something like this? Just ballparkish.
He'll review the contracts. They're not that long. I mean,
$500.
Well, that's probably gonna
less than that, I would say.
Yeah.
1 to 200.
Generally, he's what, about $100 an hour?
That's what I was gonna say, $100 to $200 an hour, and it'll probably take a couple hours.
Modify it with an up to.
I'll second the motion.
I don't think we can up to, because we don't really have any control over that. I understand what you're trying to do, but you know, if he sends us a bill and says, "Whoa, it's $500 for review those," guess what?
That's why.
We only budgeted 3, sorry, but
We wanted to make sure we had the money.
yeah. Well, we do have, this would fall under board legal, which we do budget for, so.
Yeah, do we have any money left in that?
Well, I hope so. We haven't.
Somebody used a good chunk of it.
And seconded.
No, we have select.
Zoning used a chunk of it.
Separately.
It should be separate.
We talked about having it fixed
Saw that it-
like 4 meetings ago.
Yeah, I know, but it was select board legal, $5,000, 0 spent, 5,000 left.
There we go. It was
Where do you
fixed.
see it? Phil?
Back of page 2, I believe. No, back of page 3, sorry,
Select board legal, yeah.
select board legal here. Backside of that one. There,
Okay.
5,000 budgeted, 0 spent, 5,000 remaining.
Yep.
So, motion's been made and seconded, sorry. They should, yep. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of having our documents looked at by a lawyer for legality, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, here we go. So Boston Post speed limit change discussion. Did everybody have a chance to look at that fancy book?
Yes.
Did anybody see any reason or read something that I misread?
So there's a couple pieces in here
What are
that,
we looking to change it to?
35.
The whole way.
Bakersfield line to Boston or 108.
That's what I thought.
Sorry, go ahead, John.
so on page 10, paragraph 3, people who challenge speed limits in court often question the procedures the town followed, especially whether the town conducted a traffic engineering study and whether the town followed all the steps adopting the ordinance. I bring this out because I reached out to Northwestern Planning and they do this service for free.
Okay.
They put down 2 strips on the road that monitor speeds and what type of vehicle by weight.
Yep.
And they do it for a week. I don't believe we have the capability of doing that unless we have a speed gun or something. that I don't know about.
What they recommend if you had it, is that you would simulate a speed and you would observe for a specific time period, count the number of vehicles and estimate their speed based on what you observed during the control.
100 cars. And
Or less, depending on traffic.
and they talk about using a gun in here about it as well. That's what I'm saying. We have a free service.
Absolutely.
They'll drop these things down on the road. Let's get the speed and get the data. And then we can come back. I'm not saying don't change it. I'm
Yep.
just saying, I don't want to get sued by somebody who gets upset and says, now produce the documents that show the actual speed.
Yeah, well, I don't think they can sue you. I think what would happen is you're.
Yeah, the only way you could do it is get the speed cart from the sheriff or the state police, which they would.
The sheriff's department has said anytime we want that, give them a call. So that might be worth reaching out to and just.
I mean, if
I'm-
you're gonna do the study, that's the.
Even on Main Street.
With the cart.
Are you okay with reaching out to Kyle?
Yeah.
Northwestern, yeah, I'll ask him. I think he said if they'll do it for a week and it may take them a week to get up here. I have a question since we're gonna do this. Where do we want it's only 2 strip, like it's a strip with 2 lines. Do we want it?
Can they do multiple studies?
I think
Because I think it would be great to have one on the flats right there by the golf course. But then I also think it would be good to have, yeah, up in, well, I was thinking up by like. Up beyond Aaron Wright's place. Down between Birch Way and the farm. Before you get to the big open fields. Through those S-curve areas. Because I would bet you that they're going just as fast through that area as they are on the flats.
Sure,
Just
they're not slowing down for the golf course. They're not slowing down for curves.
No,
I'll see if we can get 2 studies done, back to back, and they can send us the data, and then we've covered.
you want to let me know when they're doing that? If you can.
No, I'm not letting you know. We're gonna clock you specially.
That's perfectly fine.
Okay,
You still got the high score on the sheriff one.
and I'll have him, I'll send out a message to the board.
Was there anything else in there that?
I was more concerned about the legality of it than anything.
No, I mean,
In the way I read it is we can change it without that study.
Right.
But the study gives you the backing to say why.
Right, exactly. I mean, it says we can change it, we can put it to vote at the next town meeting, next election. I mean, I read through the whole thing front to back.
And that would give us a 48-hour, 24, whatever that period is of
Yeah,
that traffic. study.
60 days.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yep.
saying, yeah.
Right,
So so the way I read it is we don't have to advertise or publish that we're changing it.
right.
What has to happen is we would change it to 35 and then John, who goes too fast, says, I don't like 35.
Right. It's
I
not acceptable.
don't like it, bring it back up.
Right.
You have 60 days from the day it's changed
Yeah.
to get your appeal
Yeah.
with a petition signed by X number of people.
It's 5% of the voters.
Right, which I think is exactly one of those papers. So I think it's like,
It's like 50 people.
yeah,
I think we have 2,000 registered, give or take, registered
take,
voters,
yeah.
so about 50, 60 people.
Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I was reading it because sometimes I read things and I go, yeah, that makes sense. And then
Yeah, no, it literally says we can do it without, like, then it says we're opened up for.
Right.
Yeah.
We opened ourselves up.
We're pretty well.
Yep, then we're covered,
Yeah.
depending upon, and according to Northwestern, they said, we're not gonna tell you, we're not making a suggestion on what you did, we're just.
Yep.
Yep, and we can make a informed decision off of it.
Fine. So could you move? Could we move that up into roads?
The speed limit?
Yep.
Yeah.
Move Article C of board business up into roads until it is completed, please, and thank you. The last item there. I have some information that I don't think should be public.
I would make a motion to go into executive session to discuss
Personnel.
insurance, but based on a personal injury.
Correct. Motion's been made. Did you second that?
Second.
And seconded. All those in favor of going into executive session to discuss employee health insurance. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I said aye.
Turn the mics off.
We'll be back.
All right, so there were no decisions.
No decisions
No
in
decisions.
executive session.
We're coming out at,
So you made a motion to come out of executive?
Yep.
No decision.
No decisions are made.
Who made the motion?
that would be Lance.
Who seconded it?
You could say John.
That other person.
Yeah.
There you go.
You need these.
Anything else?
No, I don't have anything else, so I would entertain another motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that. I will second that.
Motion's been made to adjourn, made by John, seconded by Todd. Feel like she got slower when she came out.
I'm sorry.
All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Wait,
Too late. Too
I
late.
do have one question.
I think you've been outvoted.
No.
Well,
You can't talk.
There she got, unmute your mic.
I'll
Yeah,
ask it.
you don't get to ask me,
Adjourn.
put your mic off. Adjourn.